Welcome to the Beech Grove Scouting Report, and it's always more enjoyable when we have the opportunity to visit with Beech Grove head football coach Mark Weller the week after a win. I'm Mark James, happy to have Coach with us this morning. And Coach, you never want to lose homecoming. That's one of those must-wins, one of those that you circle on the calendar, and gave some kids an opportunity to play late. Bottom line is a big win over a vastly improved Crawfordsville team last Friday night.
Well, we were extremely excited. You know, we talked all week. Crawfordsville's a dangerous team. They played some good teams very well, especially at the beginning. They throw the ball all over the place. A quarterback's as good as we've seen all year. But extremely excited the way our kids reacted, came out on fire offensively, defensively. Really did what we needed to do to get our first homecoming win in a long, long time.
Well, this a common theme for us throughout this season as we've done this show is changing the mindset, changing the culture. And it sounds as though, as you suggested, you hinted at it in those comments, that your kids came out not waiting to see what was going to happen or hoping good things were going to happen. Your kids came out immediately and made good things happen, and that's got to be huge from the neck up.
That's, you know, like I've mentioned on previous shows, our big battle right now in changing the culture and being the best team that we can be, you know, is our mindset. You know, we're our biggest hurdle right now, you know, mentally. And you know, our kids came out and attacked. And that's the mindset we need to have on both sides of the ball. And when you do that, you make good things happen.
Who played well for you early?
Well, I tell you what, real excited with quarterback Zach Zollner. He showed a lot of composure in the pocket, great leadership. You know, we didn't throw the ball a lot, but when we threw it effectively. Trey Sevion, who's had some injury problems, really ran hard, came out and showed what he could do. Tyler Wyatt did a nice job, especially late in the game when we really needed him. But those guys had success because of our offensive line. They really came out and set the tone for us in both pass protection, run blocking. Then defensively, couldn't have been happier, you know, with the way we attacked, the way we made plays. We made it real hard early on a very good quarterback.
Well, let's name some of those offensive linemen specifically, because I know, having done play-by-play and PA, been around it all my life, oftentimes those guards and tackles and centers, they don't get their names on the PA very often.
Right. Oh, you have Andrew McCracken, Dakota Wynn, Phil Lamping, who's our leader this year, Cameron Woodfork. You know, we have at right tackle Jarrett McCoy. Those kids have really come about and done a great job. Ricky Skirvin is a sophomore for us, really aggressive. You know, we only have 5 guys that really we count on, but those guys have really come along. They got off the ball, got into people, stayed with their blocks, so we're really excited with the way they played Friday.
Second year of your system here, do you no longer see that deer in the headlights look when maybe you have to make some adjustments and whatnot? Are your kids comfortable enough, especially in your base offense, to be able to handle adjustments that you have to make throughout the game now?
It's been really fun. You know, last year when you bring up certain defensive techniques or certain ways we need to block schemes or make a change on the run, you know, the kids would just kind of look at you. Now, a second year in the system, especially with Phil, you know, they can call schemes. They can tell us what's happening and make adjustments on their own. And that, as you know, being a ex-head coach, that is such a huge relief and makes it a lot easier, especially with a no-huddle offense.
Well, and that's going to get better with time, depending on the level of commitment in the summer, because that's when you get a lot of those kinks and those issues ironed out, and that's when they actually become more comfortable. So, you know, we've talked about this before. I think what you're starting to see is the end result, the fruits of your labor and the time that kids put in the summertime.
You know, it's really a credit to our offensive line coach, Brian Grismore, Nick Perica, Jimmy Cross works with our receivers, Nick works with our quarterbacks, but I've got an experienced group of coaches who do a great job of teaching our scheme. And one thing that's been exciting for us, our junior high runs our system. Both the 7th and 8th grade teams have won our conference. They do a great job. Roy Edwards does a fantastic job there. you know, teaching our system, our booster club, everybody runs our offense, runs our defense, so hopefully that will pay off here in a few years where our kids just come in, hit the ground running.
Now, we also want to make mention, a couple weeks ago I was here for a volleyball game. I happened to step outside, see your freshmen play against Cecina. They struggled a little bit, and my mindset always was, in terms of freshman football, we pay very little, if any, attention to the scoreboard because we're just giving those kids an opportunity to play. And what that does is that gives them game situations that, quite frankly, those kids aren't going to get in practice a lot of times. So talk about the value of having a freshman football program and what it's going to mean to the future of Beech Grove.
Well, it's huge. You know, there's a world of difference between junior high football and high school football, especially freshman football. Right. You know, the size of the kids, the speed, the schemes. So us having the ability to have a freshman team and get the number of kids we have field experience at the high school level will pay huge dividends. You know, we have a great group of kids working real hard. So they're coming along, getting better each game.
One more thing, it's a fine line you have to walk. You made the decision to go deep into the bench in the second half. Things got a little interesting in the fourth quarter. Those kids have to play. There's no question. You want to win on Friday nights. You also have to give those kids an opportunity to play. But sometimes you also have to balance out your JV schedule too, because your kids are only given 5 quarters a week. So all of those things go into the decision-making process. And those 5 quarters, by the way, go from Friday to Friday. I've often said that a lot of issues could be resolved for coaches in terms of when and how to make substitutions if they just give you 1 more quarter a week.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And Friday night we made the decision, you know, it's been a long time since we've had a homecoming victory at Beech Grove. We wanted to get as many guys on the field as we could. And as we talked about, there's a big jump from junior high to freshman or high school football. There's even a larger jump from freshman JV to the varsity field. And a lot of our kids found that out Friday night, had some valuable experience. It made things a little close, but, you know, couldn't be happier, came away with a win. Got a lot of kids, game experience, and that's something we'll build on. Well,
instead of taking a break, we'll keep it right here and go right into the schedule for this Friday night. The next 2 weeks, in fact, 2 pretty solid opponents. I don't think there's any question, Coach. You've got 2 good measuring sticks coming up in Heritage Christian and Cardinal Ritter.
Absolutely. 2 of the best teams in the state. You know, Ritter, of course, coming off a huge win with Chittard. Heritage Christian and Ritter was a 1-point game at the end of the game there in week 1. 2 tremendous offenses, 2 very sound programs. This week, more than any other week, we've really talked about us being our own measuring stick. Mm-hmm. You know, we want to come out and play 4 quarters. They're going to score points. They're going to make big plays. So are we. You know, how are we going to handle that? You know, so we have to have consistency and effort and emotion, and when we take care of that, good things will happen, but we certainly have our work cut out for us.
Can you play games within games from a standpoint of telling the kids, look, don't think of it as a body of work. Let's see how we do first quarter. Then we'll measure ourselves at the end of that first quarter. Now let's move on to the second and kind of break that down into quarter-by-quarter segments.
We even break it down play-by-play, series by series. You know, here's our goal on this play, here's our play on this series, or here's our goal on this series. We try and break it down even more than that. You know, let's take it 1 step at a time. Here's what we need to do. You're going to make good plays. That's great. The next play is the most important play. Bad thing is going to happen. That's okay. That's part of football. Focus on the next play.
Your defensive coordinator and defensive staff going to be very, very busy the next couple of weeks because you're essentially facing 2 teams that have vastly different styles offensively. Heritage Christian going to spread out a little more, you know, and I know Coach Hunt, I knew him when he was a snot-nosed 10-year-old kid in the Monrovia Youth Baseball League, one of the meanest kids I ever coached. But Tyron, while certainly has one of the best quarterbacks in the state of Indiana, if not the best for his age, they feature, when they needed, a very balanced attack at Cardinal Ritter. So somewhat contrasting styles between the 2 football teams.
A lot of talent, but you're exactly right. Heritage Christian will come out and throw it all over the place. They do as good a job as I've ever seen, college, 5A, all the way through single A, of teaching the passing game and making game time adjustments to really make it hard. They really are able to find weakness in the defense. You know, they move the football, and Coach Qualls does a tremendous job with that. Now, Ritter, they can kind of do what they want, run and pass the ball. They're more physical. They've always been a physical team, but they're more physical this year, and I'm not so sure, you know, being a Ritter alumni, this is not the best Ritter team I've ever seen.
Well, Tyron Hunt said that, and of course he's been around there a while, and that's pretty heady stuff because they've had some talented teams there over there. There's no question. So now, while obviously the goal is to have as much success, win both ball games against Heritage Christian and Ritter, let's face it, now we're into the second half of the season. You're also mindful of getting your team ready for the second season, in which what I believe in assessing it, not to take anything away from the teams that are in it or put any pressure on you, but boy, I got to tell you, in your second year, just your second year off an 0-10 campaign, I hope your kids understand they have an opportunity to make some noise in that sectional that you're in.
Well, we've stressed that from day one. And, you know, one of our main goals, obviously, is to win conference or do well in conference. But when it comes down to it, it's almost a preseason. You know, we're here to win championships. We're here to make noise in the state tournament. Our tough schedule really allows us to prepare well for the state tournament. So we remind them of that every day. And this is great preparation for us going in sectionals. And, you know, we just need to be at our best and see what happens.
Hall of Fame coach Jim Kaiser, long time at Avon at Monrovia, told me one time, he said, well, he told our 2009 team at Monrovia, he said, the high school football sectional is the toughest part of the tournament to win. No question.
I really agree with that. You know, you have 3 games. Sometimes you're going into it a little nicked. You're playing usually teams you're not familiar with, so there's, you know, sometimes you're going to drive a little bit to play an opponent. So there's a lot of factors that add into that. But to me, it's also the most fun, you know, as far as the season goes.
So to close, what do we have to do to be successful Friday night? I'm assuming first and foremost, eliminate mistakes, come out with the same intensity level that you came out with against Crawfordsville.
That's our main goal. You know, we want to put 4 quarters of solid effort together. But, you know, we also have to have consistent emotions, you know, not get too down, not get too up. They're going to score points. Our big deal will not to give up the big play, make them drive, but we need to keep the ball out of their hands. You know, field position, time of possession will be huge for us.
Well, congratulations again on the win last week. Great way to cap off homecoming, certainly, and we wish you all the best of luck against Heritage Christian.
Appreciate it, Mark.
I'm Mark James. This is head football coach Mark Weller of the Beech Grove Hornets. Again, Beech Grove and Heritage Christian coming up Friday night. That's all of the Beech Grove Scouting Report for this week. I'm Mark James. Thank you.